All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is EJ Talks, and today we will be reviewing WWE's Elimination Chamber 2026 in Chicago, Illinois. And this was definitely a very interesting PLE to say the least. There's a lot to like and there's a lot to dislike, and we will get into that into this episode today. If you want to see more of this content, please hit the like button, please subscribe to the channel, and leave some comments down below and tell me what you think. And with that being said, let's get started because there is a lot to talk about here. The first match of the night was the Women's Elimination Chamber match featuring Alexa Bliss, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, Tiffany Stratton, and Kiana James. This match started off with Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton as the two showed pretty good physicality. Overall, they did some pretty good work. I liked Kiana. She's continuing to prove herself as a really good in-ring worker along with the rest of her counterparts, and I like to see that. And she continued to showcase it throughout her entire time in the chamber. And Tiffany, she has all the talent in the world. But sometimes they can get it can get to the best of her. It can get to her head a little bit as she tried her cartwheel flip back elbow that she does, but this time Kiana she dodged out the way, and Tiffany Stratton back of the head hit against the pod as Raquel Rodriguez just laughed at her in the pod. But after Kiana and Tiffany did their first work, then comes Asuka, and as soon as Asuka came out, Kiana James just tackled her into the pod, wasting no time. She did some good work, but then Asuka got in control again, and she started really kicking both Kiana and Tiffany, and Asuka showing that she's a veteran in this game. She's just showing that she still has it. The next was Alexa, and Alexa's just so much fun. Even after her taking time off and everything like that, Alexa Bliss has still got it pretty much all for the most part. After Alexa Bliss, then comes in Raquel, and then comes in Rhea. And once all the ladies get in, that's when we really start the match with the spots. Alexa, she jumps off the pod, does a twisted bliss on everyone. But for Alexa, she got Kiana James in the ring and was going for Sister Abigail. She pointed at the WrestleMania sign, waited a little too long, and bam, Asuka hits her with her mist, and it gets all in her eyes. And then Kiana James rolls Alexa Bliss up quick. 1, 2, 3. Alexa Bliss is the first one out of the match. So Kiana James did end up getting an elimination in this chamber match. Next, we go to Raquel and Kiana, and they continue to work together. But eventually Raquel, who is being seen as, the big dominant force, she gets the best of Kiana, and she picks her up and slams her through the empty pods on both sides, just slammed her like almost a Braun Strowman-esque running power slam through the pods. It was a really good spot and really good show of strength from Raquel. And then Raquel got Asuka up. She could have gotten her up a little higher, but she ended up slamming Asuka with her Tahana bomb, and she double stacked Asuka and Kiana for the pins. 1, 2, 3, both of them eliminated. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit. I really liked Kiana James' showcase here, and I'm kind of excited for what she can do in the future. But Raquel, she showed her level of dominance, and that's what you wanted to see in this match. You wanted to see Raquel look dominant, and that double pin was definitely, I saw some people weren't a fan of it. I didn't mind it. It shows how much of a powerhouse Raquel can be. So to me, I like the display This isn't gonna kill Kiana, and Asuka's already a veteran. She's already multiple-time women's champion. Asuka's legacy is pretty solidified in the game. So those were the first three eliminations, and then not in game, but the last three in this chamber match. Who could have guessed it? Raquel, Tiffany, and Rhea Bloody Ripley. The big spot for these three was Rhea Ripley getting knocked on the outside of the ring. Tiffany and Raquel, they were going to work in the corner, and they kind of forgot about Rhea. And then once they were in a spot, Rhea Ripley, she jumps off the pod and does a almost blockbuster-esque move to Raquel, who then gets hit with the prettiest moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton pins Raquel Rodriguez, and that leaves the final two being Tiffany and Rhea. And Tiffany and Rhea, they did some solid work together. They're both great in-ring workers. Although Rhea Ripley, she gets Tiffany Stratton on her shoulders and does a face buster, and let's just say it busted Tiffany open a little bit. Tiffany, no one talks about it. Tiffany really be putting herself on the line here. Like, even though she's like the pink and the pretty girl, she gets roughed up. She gets pretty dirty. All of her matches, a lot of her matches have color. Her teeth got chipped in at WrestleMania. So Tiffy, despite the character, she is not afraid to get her hands dirty for sure. But eventually Rhea Ripley gets Tiffany Stratton, headbutt, Riptide, 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley wins the Elimination Chamber and is going on to WrestleMania to face Jade Cargill. So there was that match. I don't want to talk too long, but I do want to say that I thought this was a really good match. I thought the match entirety of itself probably was better than the men's. All the women, they really did their thing. They really showcased all their abilities. And yeah, I guess, Rhea Ripley, it might be the predictable, the obvious, of course, but I mean, you just gotta admit Rhea Ripley is box office. So after Bianca Belair's injury, and we knew that she wasn't coming back, it made the most sense probably for Rhea Ripley to be in that spot, as she is the most popular women's wrestler on the roster probably right now. And Rhea Ripley follows that along with pretty good work. I mean, sometimes it can be she's not immune, she's not perfect. She's had a couple of bad spots here or there, but Rhea Ripley, she has consistently put on a lot of the best matches of the years so far. Her work with Charlotte Flair and her work with Io Sky was some of the best matches of the years. So I don't mind this. I'll talk maybe a little bit more in depth in another video or whatever, but I don't mind the finish or the outcome or the ending, even if it is a little bit predictable. Rhea Ripley at this point, she's just becoming undeniable. At this point, she might get that moniker Miss WrestleMania, because every single match she's in is some sort of title match. So you gotta give a round of applause for that. The next match was for the Women's Intercontinental Championship between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. AJ Lee, who hadn't had a 1v1 singles wrestling match in a decade. So, I have to say that because this wasn't exactly a barn burner, but for a woman who hasn't wrestled in 10 years, it was pretty good. It definitely was a decent match. Definitely just a little bit, I'd say a little bit slower. It got a little bit gritty at times, but no, this was pretty solid actually. Like it was a solid match. Like there's no other way to put it. AJ Lee for the most part, definitely a little rusty, but she still had it. It was still solid because she's in great shape. So, I mean, towards the end of the match, probably got a little bit tired, but that's usually how it goes for even people who are in the business. Becky, she had a whole bunch of there was some shenanigans, especially from Becky Lynch, who did things like untying the top turnbuckle, and then slamming AJ Lee into it, which also slammed the ref Jessica Carr into it, and then Becky Lynch just straight up just kicked Jessica Carr. So there's that, and she got the chair in, and well, before that happened, actually, after she kicked Jessica Carr in the head, AJ Lee put her in the Black Widow, and she was tapping, and Carr was still out, and I was like, oh, the classic. It's a WWE classic, isn't that? And then Becky Lynch got into the chairs, put the chair into the ring, and she gave AJ Lee a manhandle slam, and I thought that was ball game, but AJ Lee did end up kicking out. So AJ Lee eventually, after she hits one of her signature moves, Shining Wizard, she eventually gets her back into the Black Widow after a slugfest and makes Becky Lynch tap with Jessica Carr, seeing it, and that was it. And so AJ Lee is the new IC champion. If there was any moment to put the IC championship on AJ Lee, I think now was the correct moment. She is a part-timer. She probably won't be on the show fully that many amount of times, so I just feel like this was a great moment for AJ, and the Chicago crowd. I felt like they were sort of kind of into it. We can talk about that a little bit later, but things were kind of flat throughout the entire night. But for the most part, in this match, I'd say towards the end of it, especially with everything that was going on, the Chicago crowd definitely got more into it, and AJ Lee ends up winning her first ever championship, IC championship, and her first championship in over a decade. So I'm happy for AJ Lee. I definitely like AJ Lee. I used to watch her, when she was in WWE in her work in her prime, and I definitely missed her. So it was good to see her get the moment in Chicago, and there'll be some plans for her later. She probably won't have a super long reign. I don't expect much from this reign at all, but good moment, good to see her win, and there's gonna be some things that need to be determined next. So shout out to Becky Lynch for working that match and just being the all-time vet that she is in the game. So overall, pretty good work. There's not much to say other than that. So all right, our next match was CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. And if you were watching this live and you saw CM Punk's entrance, you knew right then and there that, this was over. CM Punk came out to the Chicago Bulls 1990s entrance with the music, and even had the former PA announcer for the Bulls, Ray Clay, announce for CM Punk as he was walking through the tunnels of United Center. And at that moment, I was just like, CM Punk, he's not, there's a lot of wrestlers. It was talked about a while ago. I heard from Devon Dudley how Vince would have a lot of wrestlers lose in their hometown. Well, there's been one exception to wrestlers losing in their hometown, and that is pretty much CM Punk in Chicago, who stays the biggest draw, the biggest headline every time he enters the building in the Windy City. So CM Punk and Finn Balor, they had a pro wrestling match, and it was a very solid clinic. There is a couple things you can critique about this, though. For one, this is their second match. Their first match was in Ireland, over in Finn Balor's home country, and This match, I would like to think it was better than their Ireland match. They did a lot of cool things here. The one that stood out to me the most was how CM Punk countered a coup de grace into a sharpshooter. That was sick. So I would like to say that this match was better, but not leagues above, not leagues beyond above what their match was in Ireland. So there's a lot of people that this was like just a better version of their Raw match. So I mean, you can definitely say that. I like the energy more in this one. Obviously, the crowd was pretty into it because it's CM Punk, and the Chicago crowd's always going to be into a CM Punk match. So overall, this was a solid bout. The ending a bit meh. CM Punk, after doing a lot of work, he had even been busted up in this match. So he had been doing plenty of work. Finn Balor, you could see his footprint on the side of CM Punk's head post match, but CM Punk returned the favor, kicked Finn Balor, in the face, and put him up for the GTS. And 1, 2, 3, CM Punk retains the World Heavyweight Championship to keep the WrestleMania main event alive between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. After that, they show mutual respect, a bit hesitant, a bit slow after last time, but Finn Balor once again shakes CM Punk's hand after the match, and then he goes off. There's a lot of things that you can talk about here, but I just want to save it. I just wanted to do the quick review. Overall, probably the best match of the night. They're both amazing, CM Punk and Finn Balor. It just does suck that Finn Balor has to keep eating pins and just has to be pin Balor for the time being. But I have a feeling that Finn Balor's time is going to come up soon, or at least it should. I'm looking at you, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And then comes one of the moments during the Elimination Chamber that was widely very discussed among the community. So, as you know, WWE has been doing this thing about what's in the box. They revealed this box. It says, "Don't open till Elimination Chamber." It was being bounced around from brand to brand until Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce decided they were just going to open an Elimination Chamber. So, during the Elimination Chamber, there was a small segment where Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are in the back, and there's talking about what's going to be in the box, and R-Truth comes out and he says, "I know what's in the box," and he pulls out a Papa John's pizza box. So yeah, WWE, way to get that in. But anyways, what was actually revealed in the box was after the CM Punk Finn Balor match, in which Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, they come out and they unveil the box. It falls, and a coffin is revealed, and out of that coffin comes vampire dancers, and then the main star, the attraction of the box. Who was in this box this whole time? It was Danhausen. Danhausen comes out, and oh my goodness, there's just so much to talk about in this specific segment. I could make a whole nother video just about this segment alone. But Danhausen, he comes out, he walks out. Danhausen was previously in AEW, so Danhausen does have a bit of a following, but it's not a very big following, and you could tell that from the crowd reaction. As soon as Danhausen came out, there were some initial cheers, but you could definitely tell there was a lot of confusion going on. And he came out to the ring, he gave Michael Cole a jar of teeth, then in the ring he did his pose, and he left as the lights dimmed and the dancers left with him. And then Chicago just started raining down boos. They started booing. I think it was more towards the segment rather than Danhausen, but yeah, so that one was in the crate, and boy was it controversial, to say the least. It was buzzing on social media for a long time, because I mean, there's just so much to sink your teeth into here in this situation, not pun intended. But yeah, so Danhausen's in the WWE, so I could probably talk about this entire segment in another video itself. But yeah, so Danhausen, he showed up at the Elimination Chamber, and everyone loved it. So yeah. And finally, we reach our main event of the evening, which is the Men's Elimination Chamber match featuring Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight, Trick Williams, Logan Paul, and Javon Evans. This match started off with Cody Rhodes and Javon Evans in the ring and everyone else in the pods. And quickly, Cody Rhodes took control of Javon Evans. I felt like it was really more Cody's tempo rather than Javon. So Cody was showing his level of expertise. And then came out Trick Williams, who has his own history with Javon Evans, obviously in NXT. So they went at it and they showed off their capabilities. After Trick Williams, in comes Logan Paul, LA Knight, and Randy Orton was the guy who came out last. And as soon as all the six are in, that's when things really start to get started here. So Logan Paul started to take over this Elimination Chamber match, as Logan Paul was first. He actually got launched off the top of the pod between Javon Evans and LA Knight. Then Javon Evans, LA Knight had a bit of a segment where LA Knight hit him with a BFT, and eventually Trick Williams was on the ground, and Javon Evans did a frog splash off the top of the pod, but in came Logan Paul with his pulverizer, and it was a gnarly pulverizer. I mean, I think Javon pretty much just landed on his head. Logan Paul literally pulverized Javon Evans, pun intended, right there. And 1, 2, 3, Logan Paul eliminates Javon Evans. Then here comes the bad segment for LA Knight, as LA Knight had kicked Randy Orton. Randy Orton went down almost in a like Ric Flair style sell, and he did his middle top rope elbow spot where he says LA Knight, gets the crowd into it, and then he jumps from middle to top and hits an elbow. But as he tried to do that, he slipped off the top of the rope, and it was just embarrassing. He tried to recover, but everyone had secondhand embarrassment, especially me, who was watching that. I put my hands to my head, and I was just like, yeah, it's over for LA Knight. And as I was thinking that, I look up, and LA Knight gets punched in the groin by Logan Paul, a low blow, then gets rolled up 1, 2, 3, and out goes LA Knight in one of the worst sequences you will ever see. Then after that, Logan Paul goes at it with Trick Williams, and Trick Williams is trying to set up his trick shot knee. He misses. Logan Paul goes for a pulverizer, doesn't get it. As Trick lands backwards, he gets hit with the crossroads. Logan Paul then grabs Cody Rhodes and throws him into the ring post, and then Logan Paul pins Trick Williams 1, 2, 3, and Logan Paul has 3 eliminations back to back to back in the chamber match, just as everyone predicted. So that leaves 3 people left: Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes. As these final 3 are in the ring, in comes a masked man. Once again, another masked man, but security jumps on him quick and gets him out of there, and they unmask him, and it's still not a WWE wrestler, so everyone is still confused. Like, that's 2 masked men who are non-WWE wrestlers, so what's going on here? Trick Williams is still hurt from everything, and he is slowly helped off, and as he is slowly helped off, in comes one more masked man, and he has a stare down with Logan Paul, and the masked man kicks Logan Paul in the stomach, bounces off the rope, and stomps him into the ground. and Cody Rhodes capitalizes, pinning Logan Paul. 1, 2, 3. As Cody Rhodes is looking at the Masked Man, the Masked Man finally unveils himself, and it is none other than the architect, the visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins, who finally made his return back from injury. So it was good to see Seth, and well, I was just so relieved because I don't want to see another Masked Man for a very, very long time. So I'm just so glad. No more Masked Men, please. I'm done. I'm over it. I don't want to see or hear about another Masked Man unless it's Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee. Unless it's the literal wrestlers with the mask on. I don't want another Masked Man segment. I was just so sick of it. So thank God Seth Rollins comes out and then he leaves, leaving just Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. As we think this is just going to be a 1v1 to see who gets to the Elimination Chamber, the door is for some reason still open, and so Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, comes out and hits Cody with the championship in the back of the head and tries to set up for a Claymore kick. He misses, and Randy Orton then comes out and turns around Drew McIntyre and hits him with an RKO, and then gives him up to Cody Rhodes, who looks at Randy, gets the okay, and gives Drew McIntyre the crossroads. And just as he is getting up from that crossroads, Randy Orton with an RKO from out of nowhere. It was so quick, just snappy, just the RKOs that you love to see, truly just out of nowhere, because it just happens in such a split second. And then Randy Orton pins Cody Rhodes. 1, 2, 3, and Randy Orton is the winner of the Men's Elimination Chamber match and is going on to WrestleMania. And I would say this was well liked, that part at least of the match. The rest of the match, it was underwhelming to say the least for a lot of people. It was pretty standard, wasn't the greatest, wasn't horrible for most of the match, but Randy Orton winning was the correct choice for pretty much everyone. Everyone loved to see it. Everyone loves Randy, and everyone loved Randy getting back to the mountaintop, because despite Randy's illustrious history, it feels like it's been a while since Randy Orton could be at the top of the throne in WWE. So it was good to see our good old Viper once again striking while the iron was hot and punching his ticket into WrestleMania, as Cody Rhodes just sat on the stairs looking distraught, and everyone else was pretty happy, especially on X and on Instagram, because I think a lot of people are facing some Cody Rhodes fatigue. So if it wasn't going to be Randy Orton, and it was going to be Cody Rhodes, they were going to be furious. So there's that, and Randy Orton won the match. So congratulations to Orton, and can't wait to see him at WrestleMania. Now, you would think that would be the end of the show pretty much, and it was, but it wasn't, as Nick Aldis and Drew McIntyre got into a huge argument in the back as they were both yelling at each other, as Nick Aldis told Drew McIntyre multiple times, "I told you to stay out of it. I told you to stop getting involved and interfering in all these matches, and you just couldn't help yourself." And so Nick Aldis then goes to the post-match conference, or the post-match thing they have outside of the United Center, and he says that Drew McIntyre has pushed it too far, and now Drew McIntyre is going to have to defend his WWE Championship on SmackDown next Friday against Cody Rhodes. And then some more arguing, some more headbutting between Nick Aldis and a very angry Drew McIntyre, who comes out and is irate. So at that point, that was the real ending of Elimination Chamber. So yeah. Overall, this Elimination Chamber gave you very mixed feelings. While the wrestling involved wasn't that bad, it also just wasn't very special. It didn't feel very Elimination Chamber, Road to WrestleMania special moment. And the storylines were also just as lacking, especially in the women's, where there were pretty much no stories at all. So there could only be so high of a grade that you could possibly give this chamber, just because of the lack of really impactful story here, other than in the men's side for most of it. And even the men's side was a bit complicated, because we all know that Logan Paul was not supposed to be in this match. This match was supposed to be for Braun Breaker, and then it was supposed to be for Bronson Reed, and then it turned into Logan Paul, and everyone is on social media saying, well, Seth Rollins, I guess hurting the Vision makes sense, but it wasn't really Logan Paul's fault, because, I mean, Logan Paul wasn't involved when Seth Rollins had that whole dispute and got kicked out of the Vision. So there's just so much to be desired, and especially Danhausen, who is a whole nother can of worms to get into. Especially his reveal and his build up left a lot of people to be desired, and was simply just always going to be disappointing, because Danhausen is not a main event guy. He's not a guy who's gonna build up some storylines or put on some 5-star classics for WWE. So if that wasn't going to be the type of thing that was going to come out the box, it was always going to get booed. So overall, this Elimination Chamber, just a confusing wreck, confusing mess that just kind of left you just stunned in silence, but not really in the good way, just in the I have to process what I just watched because I don't even know what I was watching kind of thing. Some good wrestling here or there from the women, AJ, Becky, CM Punk, Finn, men like Javon and Trick Williams, but not even they really got to show off as much as you would like. I feel like Kiana James, out of all the young stars, had a better outing than the men like Javon Evans did in the chamber. So that's it. That's the video. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments down below, and I will see you next time. EJ Talks is out.